Hello drone lovers, my name is KM. Welcome to my channel. Well, we have heard so much about Betaflight 4.2 that is now released, and I'm just hoping to try this Betaflight 4.2 on this Diatone3. I have not been flying my Diatone3 for some time now, so it is a good time, I think, now that we are out of the circuit breaker and we can fly outdoors during the pandemic. So at least this gives me a chance to test out the Diatone3 with Betaflight 4.2. But on the other hand, I will also want to try the dynamic idle in order for this to be able to do a good power loop and to be able to hang invertedly for a longer time. I would want to maximize or minimize the propeller's RPM as much as possible. Okay, before we update the Betaflight 4.2, we have to check the original CLI. Remember, the first time when you upgrade the Betaflight for all your drones, the very first time you upgrade, before you upgrade, you will always have to do a CLI and do a diff all, right? So this is the file that I have for the very first time that I did it. So just remember the name here. This is the name of the manufacturer or the model that this firmware requires. So when you do the firmware update in Betaflight, make sure you look for this one, okay, and not the one that is of late, which means if let's say you have installed, see, he has changed the name to Maytag F405, so don't look for this name but look for the original name. That's all I have to remind you when you update your Betaflight. Okay, let's go on with connecting the quad. Okay, basically I will do a test flight after this, and then I will let you have a look at how well it flies. And not only that, I think I will this quad is actually an F405, and I heard that for 405s we can actually run dshot 600 without any issues. But before that, I had to do a task and check to see if the frequency is consistent at 8K. If I do 8K for dshot 600. Okay, let's open Betaflight, connect. Okay, so what I did, which I've already done, okay, this is already Betaflight 4.2.1, which I just updated. Okay, and I copied back all my port settings from my previous Betaflight. Okay, what is different with this 4.2 that I have changed? I have changed the motor idle throttle value from 3 to 2.7. Okay, why did I change to 2.7? And also I have also changed dshot 300 to dshot 600. Because I found out lately that we can run dshot 600 on an F405, and then I will select my peak loop frequency as 8K. For Betaflight 4.2, you cannot select your gyro update frequency anymore. It is fixed to 8K, and all the peak loop setting loop frequency will be a divisor of the gyro update frequency. Okay, since that you have set dshot 600, there's one thing you have to take note is the CPU load time. If you look at Betaflight at the bottom of the screen, you will notice the CPU load time here. CPU load percentage is here. It is showing about 20%, so it is not overloading the CPU. Anything that is below 30% should be okay. Another way to check is go to CLI tab and type TASKS task, and notice that the rows 2, 3, and 4, which is the gyro, filter, and pit, it should be 8000 for the rate per hertz all the time. So you just type TASKS many times and see if it's consistent. If it's not consistent, that means your CPU is overloaded. Okay, but because the CPU is only 20%, I'm sure it should be okay. So if it's not consistent, you might want to disable some of the features inside configuration. So you might want to go into the features, and maybe some of the features that you're not using, like LED strip or soft serial, you may want to disable it so that the CPU will be able to work more efficiently. But for this quad, I have GPS, so I have no choice but to enable GPS. And another thing, in the pitch tuning, I maintain everything as 1 in the middle. The only thing that I have changed or added is the dynamic idle value of 14. Okay, and the rest are all defaults. And why I set to 14? So I just want to show you how I decided on to set on to 14. Okay, let's go to Motors tab, and then we connect a battery. It's better to remove the props, okay, for this test. But since it's a 3-inch quad, I will just hold the quad down. Okay, so make sure everything can turn freely. And what I'll do is I will just turn on this thing, and I will increase the RPM to 27, which is 1027, because I set in the configuration 2.7%. So I want to find out at 2.7%. Okay, my RPM is 1800. But what is the RPM that caused the motor to stop spinning? Let's go down, and we will see at certain RPM the motors will just twitch, and this is at 10087. At 1008 it is still spinning well, and what is the RPM at 1008 is 280. Okay, so I give a bit of buffer, maybe 10110, which is about 500. Okay, 540. So that would be my lowest RPM that I can go to. So based on this lowest RPM, I multiply this by 2 to 3, which is 2.5. Therefore, I come up to a value of 1400 RPM. So I set the pitch tuning tab. I set this to 14 because this is a multiple of 100. So it's 1400, which is about between 2 to 3 of the very lowest RPM that you can go. You won't want to go to that low because then you may cause a desync when you're flying mid-air. So I will decide to set it to 1400 for my minimum RPM. So this 1400 will be 80%. If you go to GitHub, you will know that this you can learn how to set this value. But I'm going to do the reverse way. I'm going to calculate the lowest RPM first, and this will be 80% of my minimum throttle value. So if 1400 is 80%, then what is 100%? So I will just need to take the calculator. Alright, and I'll take 14 and do a divide by 0.8. Okay, so 1750. So let's round it off to 1800. So I have to go to the Motors tab again. Okay, hold my code down, and I'm going to say I understand the risk, and I'm going to increase my motor to RPM of 1800. Okay, so 1800, I see. Yep, so 1800 is 182 something, and my motor value is 1027, which is 2.7%. Okay, so I just want to confirm with every motor to make sure that at 1800 is around the same value. Okay, motor 2 is the same. At 1800 is 1027 value. And about motor 3, 1800 is about 1027 also. Yes, and motor 4 at 1800 is 1027. So every motor is the same. At 1800 RPM, the value for the throttle is 1027. So which means it is 2.7% of the full throttle. So you can see that's why I set here 2.7%. Okay, so this is the other way. I would want to get the lowest value that I can to give me the ultimate hang time without desync. So this is one thing that I have changed from the default values, besides the dshot 600. Okay, because originally it was dshot 300 and 4K. Now it's dshot 600 with 8K. And for my filters tab, you can see I have changed the gyro filter multiplier to a default, which is 1, and I just moved my detail multiplier up to 1.2. I didn't push all the way up. I don't see the need to, because I don't feel any delays at all in latency. So here I follow the same way of setting, as shown in GitHub, which means 3 here, 100 here, 0 here, 250 here, and from minimum to maximum is 100 to 350. Yeah, so 350 should be sufficient for a mini 3-inch quad. Okay, another way to find out what this frequency is to enable the FFT frequency in the post report of the Betaflight status report, and then you can see at the end of each flight what is the highest frequency it has read. So this should be enough. Okay, so let me disconnect the quad first. So before review this video of this flight of the Diatone3, let me just say that do click on the subscribe button at the top right later on at the end of the video, and to subscribe to my channel, and also give me a thumbs up and share my video to your friends. If you can, also enable the notification bell so that you can receive more of my future videos. So thank you and enjoy the show. bye.